Whoa!
Or what?
A little bit loud. We're live. Hey. Welcome to the StewKast. Thank you. We are live right now. We're on YouTube, so you know what that means, Corey. Got to watch our language. Don't F around.
Don't F around.
If we don't F around, we will never find out.
We'll never find out. Unless we F around, then we might just find out.
Hey, actually, this is what we're going to talk about today. I am Lou Marconi. I'm going to talk about myself. We're going to talk about my co-host, my hetero co-host.
We're going to talk about you
StewKast,
and how you're Lou Marconi.
I'm Lou Marconi. Now, we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and last Wednesday night's AEW Dynamite. I actually watched AEW. Yeah, it was something to talk about.
We'll deep into that.
We'll dive into those three shows
this afternoon.
We'll do it this afternoon. It is a live wrestling podcast, and you can check us out on the Fans First Sports Network and newly added to the Combat Zone Network. We appreciate each and every one of you. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit the notification bell. Thank you very much for joining us, Corey. How are you today?
Dude, I'm great.
You're great. Just running around doing errands.
Yeah, errands, man. Right between shows, errands.
Check out our Sunday show, the Sunday Stew Pot. It's on Rumble every Sunday morning. A new episode goes down, and every Sunday we do that. And also on Saturday night, I will be going live for the Burning River Browns talk at 9 p.m. doing a pregame show of the Cleveland Browns preseason finale in Seattle, facing the Seahawks. All right, thank you very much for joining us. Okay, so anything you want to plug, Corey?
Also, just right after this recording today, after this live show, I'm going live on Twitch with Dan Law TV on Twitchy Pants. We're just gonna talk like ADR flubs in movies and stuff, and kind of sort of try to build up just a little bit of laughs and have a little bit of fun on Twitch. So if you follow me at Corey Castle on Twitch, just the same way you would follow me at Corey Castle on YouTube or on Twitter or Instagram, wherever you follow people, I'm at Corey Castle. And I'm also on Scoops.
You're on Scoops?
Scoops, yeah. It's like a new TikTok-y for that.
Oh,
but I'm on also as Corey Castle.
All right. Well, very good. Very, very good. Well, thank you for joining us this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. We are here live. We appreciate each and every one of you. I just kind of want to know, which one did you want to talk about first? You want to do SmackDown, Raw, or Dynamite? You pick.
Well, I mean, I have very little to say about Dynamite since I haven't watched it, but I mean, I have a few things to say. If you want to dive into your analysis,
of Dynamite,
sort of breakdown of Dynamite.
Let me ask you this. If you go to a show or you're watching a show and every match on the show has a run-in, would you say that was a poorly booked show?
Yeah, but because then you're just expecting it every match.
Every match, everybody starts looking at the entranceway. They're looking for somebody to run down.
It just gets predictable, yeah. And I'd imagine that a live audience wouldn't ever come back to a show. They would never come back to that show because they just got exactly what they expected in every match.
That was my big criticism of that show.
There's a run in every single match. There was not. They didn't even have breaks in between.
No, they had run-ins on matches. Every one of them had involved a run-in and everything else. And the promos were good. Like Billy Gunn came down and then he went back. Yeah, and I think watching the Young Bucks just kind of makes me glad I'm retired because I don't think I would have put up with them. That's about it. But the Young Bucks aren't that young anymore. What are they, in their late 30s now?
They're my age. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm 40, so
they're middle aged.
I
They're
mean,
middle aged bucks.
I'm a wrestler. I'm a current day wrestler, and
Hmm.
I will mention that many a times, because I have logical analysis and criticism of AEW. They want their fingers in their ears. La 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 la. I can't hear it, and I'll never have a
Right.
job there
Right.
unless they decide to like wake up and understand what reality is, and like that's that'd be cool if they did that, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah. Well, let's do this before we go any further. We do have to pause for a break from our sponsors. So that means we have to be quiet for 3 seconds. All right, we're back. Thank you. All right, so we paused for a break.
Oh, how about that sponsor, huh, man? Whoa, I'm gonna be
Whoa, what
picking
a
up that
sponsor.
product for certain.
There we go. Well, sponsors do the Fans First Sports Network, so thank you.
I love it.
Appreciate the sponsorships. Appreciate everybody
Gratitude,
following
gratitude,
us and
gratitude.
like us. Gratitude every time.
The
So
gratitude
really,
era,
yeah,
my
gratitude
favorite.
era. That's well. Let's like I said, the thing they're building up to is the Daniel Bryan potential retirement match.
Right.
There, it's just certain other things too, and I think. Yeah, Orange Cassidy took his hands out of his pockets. Thank God. That's how long it's been since I watched AEW. I'm like, oh, okay, he's actually not keeping his hands in his pockets, so that's good.
Not much has changed with Orange Cassidy. Uh,
No,
I mean, I've wrestled him. I met him. He's somebody who I liked working with.
well,
But
I'm
it
sure
was
he's a good guy.
before he was doing the Orange Cassidy gimmick. So
Mm,
this is probably 2005, likely
okay,
when I worked with him, and I thought he was a good guy. I thought he was a nice kid. Uh, I mean, we were all kids in 2005, but
yeah,
but 19, 20 years ago, something like that. So,
yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead. What were you about to say? Because I was about to switch gears to Raw, but you can go
the
ahead.
um, I I don't want to I don't want to crap on anybody who I like personally know, um,
Right.
or have worked with before. But I mean, let's just kind of zoom it out and talk about the booking of this. How long did we expect people to continue being entertained by the same tricks?
The same nonsense.
Right, the same predictable thing every time. I mean,
Hmm.
I mean, I want to like it. Fans want to like it. It's not like there aren't wrestling fans in the world. And if somebody watches this who's a wrestling fan, the AEW fan base will go, "Oh, well, you're just not a wrestling fan. You don't get it." No, no, you're in a toxic little bubble to have that thought process. I mean, I see some of this stuff highlighted on Reddit. I go on Reddit a bunch, so I've seen like the builds that they're doing with certain things. I
Hmm.
don't watch the television product because it's like, how much can they expect fans to watch? I'm more of a wrestling fan than most of the wrestling fans that you'll know. So you can't minimalize I'm not a wrestling fan if I'm seeing this and I'm going, oh, I'm
It
seeing the same exact stuff, the same
and
like paint by numbers.
it's like
Uh,
and you're getting the ick factor. You know
right.
what I mean? Yeah.
It's changed the channel heat. And I went on Reddit and I said that once, and I will never
Ooh,
speak up against AEW on
ooh,
Reddit ever again
ooh.
because
You
their
probably got
fan
a
base
ton.
is so like they're so drinking the Kool-Aid, and almost like they go like, why do you want it to grow so much? What's your problem? I'm like, I want the business to grow, and they're
Yeah,
they're they're impeding that growth.
yeah. You do what's good. You learn this as you've been in the business for a longer period of time. You do things in the business not for you, but you do it for what's best
Right.
for business.
Hmm.
And when you selfishly start doing that, people appreciate it. Remember, WrestleMania 3, if Andre the Giant wanted to, he could have beaten Hogan. He could have done whatever he wanted to him, but he put him over because it was good for business. Andre was all business, and he did it. So there you go. I mean, if Andre's willing to put a guy over, you should be willing to put a guy over if it makes sense, especially if it makes sense. So there you go.
It's really not. It's not really putting a guy over. It's not about winning and losing in the grand scheme of it all. It's
we're
about
trying to
putting the product itself over. The
we're
product of pro
right,
wrestling, what you're trying to sell to an audience that isn't a wrestling fan base already.
right, right,
You're trying
right.
to create a new audience because, like, you wanted
Which
to be an alternative from the start. The whole idea of starting this company was to be a true alternative to what was the same old. And I think that the gimmick to it was like most wrestling fans, they were disenfranchised and hated Vince McMahon and how that was paint by numbers. And this is its own bonkers paint by numbers. It doesn't matter. Like the
right.
consequences, there was
I
going to be
agree.
a sports feel. There was going to be wins and losses matter, and so much doesn't matter that like, how does anything matter?
Right. I agree. Let's consider this because now we talked about heat and we talked about what's best for business. Because if you think about it, the AEW has their Wembley show coming up, and the WWE has their Berlin show coming up. Correct.
Mm, right.
So look what the two companies have done to build to that. Now they did do an angle with Daniel Bryan and their champion. God, what's the hell the guy's name?
Swerve.
Swerve. I yeah, that's and Swerve and Daniel Bryan, and they're building it up, and they made Swerve look strong, but they didn't what they did versus what they did with the new. Well, if you want to do Raw or SmackDown, because in SmackDown the
I, I
uh,
um I'm not sure the chronological order of it. I think Raw was sooner, so I would say probably when it
Raw
comes
was
to
last
SmackDown.
Monday. Raw
Right.
was last Monday.
So
SmackDown
when it
was
cover
last Friday.
SmackDown first on that
We'll do
list,
SmackDown. Yeah, we'll do
you have like
SmackDown
a
versus.
match by match, segment by segment breakdown.
Not necessarily. I just said
Okay.
I loved the one match with Andrade, and I'm
Andrade,
gonna miss this, Andrade, and shit. God, why am I missing all
Carmelo
names?
Hayes.
Carmelo, yeah, Carmelo and Andrade, and that one I loved. That match I really liked. The weakest match on that show was the women's match, I thought. But I love the way they left Roman Reigns laying at the
Mhm.
end because that's heat. That was
That
heat
is, yeah,
to be the tribal chief. That's
right.
heat because he went and he took it. And they that because what's the point if he goes back and takes it back right away? What are they going to be fighting for? So that was good booking in a sense.
What
That was
what
go ahead.
cracks me up is Jim Cornette analysis of this. The fact that they made CM Punk's like 75-cent bracelet and the Ulafala, those beads mean
The
more than
lay, yeah.
any of any of the belts in AEW. What a like
Yeah, there's so many
what an
title belts.
analysis. Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say in the AEW show, the women's match was solid, but Dr. Britt Baker had to do a run in. The women's match was better in AEW than it was on WWE. I will say that the SmackDown one anyway. Um, so anyway, yeah. So I really that was good. I'm trying to think. The LA Knight promo was good. LA Knight does good promos. I'm talking about SmackDown, and I'm trying to think. Oh God, the whole Nia Jax thing was just
Mhm.
cringe.
Oh
The
yeah,
whole Nia
with the
Jax thing.
dancer, with the kids singing and dancing. The
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Deadly. That
yeah.
I
Poor
mean,
Nia.
it
Poor Nia
was
Jax having to do
funny.
that. I was like,
It
yeah, he was
was, I
funny.
guess,
You
funny
thought
or something. It was very like cringe level of like Rock. This is your life, except for like it wasn't as watchable or entertaining.
hmm
Like they're trying stuff. Like you. if you don't try things, you don't know what works and what doesn't work. So I
Right.
mean, but I
I
mean,
don't know.
like,
It didn't work. Let's just say that. Let's just say that it didn't work. It
yeah,
didn't
this
work. And
they gave this segment too much time. They
yeah,
could have
the
got over the point of whatever that was quicker.
I
And
should actually do better at writing stuff down when I watch this because I'm just my too many concussions. I just losing names. DIY with Gargano, that tag match I enjoyed. I pretty much enjoyed SmackDown overall. I mean, I did. I enjoyed it better than AEW. So, but
mm,
it's got that sense to it. Now, the thing is too, you see this all the time with wrestling today, which kind of like fit people kicking out of finishers. Like they'll do a DDT on the floor, pick the guy up, and throw him into the ring, and then do more stuff with him. And I'm like, that should kill him. That should be it, you know. And just stuff like that is what bothers me. But if I say anything, which I just did on this show, but if I go online and say anything, just look at the comments. Oh, you're just old. You don't get it. You know,
the
yeah, I'm old and I don't get
context
it.
of who's saying it and why they're saying it is completely lost. And what
Yeah,
experience levels these people are just, as Ronda Rousey would have said, uh, do nothing bitches who've done nothing and are nobody, and they're just they're just they exist, and that's all they've got going on.
absolutely. They exist and they got nothing else going on. All right. So I'm guessing you anything else you have to add about SmackDown because then we can finish up with Raw.
Was great. Did Grayson Waller have a match on Raw or on SmackDown? I think he was in. Was he in the main event? It was like Grayson Waller, and he was managed by Austin Theory, and he took on
No,
Kevin Owens.
Kaiser. Yeah, it was Kevin Owens. That was SmackDown. That was
Okay,
SmackDown. Yeah,
and
yeah, that was good.
and no, wait, no. Was it Grayson Waller against Kevin Owens? Was that how that went?
That was SmackDown, and Raw was Randy Orton and Kaiser,
Okay,
and that was a good
yeah,
match too. Which
that
while
was
watching it because Gunther was on the outside. I'm watching it. I'm watching it with Christine, and I'm going, yeah. I kind of said it doesn't make sense if Randy's going to have a title match in Berlin for him to lose this match, and I was right. So
well. I was saying to Alyssa when the match ended, I said, "Did you expect any other result?" And she was like, "Not at all. What? No, of
yeah,
course not."
yeah, you kind of saw that. You knew it was going to come, but
Mhm,
they did things to add to the heat with
mhm,
Gunther and Orton, which is good. And
mhm.
plus also with there was one part with the Wyatt Six when they who did they have laying and it was in the smoke. You couldn't even see the guy
It
anymore.
was Chad Gable.
It was Chad Gable? Yeah, that's right. Because I keep thinking of
Mhm.
Dan Gable whenever I hear that the Iowa wrestler. Yeah, it was Chad. They had Chad Gable laying. That was the only thing was like when the smoke started coming in, you couldn't see him laying
Mhm.
there selling. You just the smoke covered them up. So I don't think they realized that was going to happen until it's on TV and it's too late. We're live. So that was that. But what was the one where they had Rhea Ripley was left laying with Damian Priest? They did
Mhm.
that too. So that's leading to the heat because they're doing the Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio mixed tag
Yeah,
match. So
they were trying to do a singles match with Damian Priest against Dominic, but then all of New Day came out, and it was just it turned into like a big smaz, which you expected to turn all into
yeah,
something.
yeah,
It's like they're
turn
building
into
up
something.
a match where they're going to have contact with each other. So why would there be any clean result from a singles competition to build up to them doing a tag match or a
Right,
mixed tag?
right. And there was an angle they did for next week on Raw, which is and hang on, let me close this map where it's Braun Strowman and Reed.
Bron- Bronson Reed, yeah.
Bronson and Reed, yeah, that one. I want. It's interesting to see how two big men work because I don't see a lot of, you know,
Is
a
it?
lot of
Are
spot
they
muscle
gonna now
stuff.
have because they had Bronson Reed take out Seth Rollins, and they haven't even shown any like replays of that. They just are going like, "Oh, he's
He
out
he
for a
he
while,"
did it to our truth too.
and
He
then he
laid
did
out
it.
our truth.
And then they did it to R-Truth, and then he did it to Miz. So are
Mhm.
now R-Truth and Miz going to both be out for a while, or is it just going to be the Seth
I don't know.
Rollins one?
I haven't heard. I don't know. So it'll be interesting.
I thought you
Yeah.
and Miz were tight. I thought you guys were Cleveland buddies and had
No, no,
had your text thread go.
no, no, Mike. No, I haven't talked to Mike in years. Yeah, there's a lot of Cleveland guys. I really, I mean, it's interesting because when I talked to Eric Rayro, I trained him. I broke him in.
Right,
And I
right.
said, do you even talk to anybody in Cleveland? And he goes, not really. I said, yeah, not really. I don't either. I mean, I keep in touch with Frank Stiletto, who was my tag
Mm-hmm.
partner, is the best man at my
Mm-hmm.
wedding, but that's
Right.
about it. Let me see. I'm trying to think. Um, Anybody else? Gargano. God, geez, I
I
haven't
was going to
seen
ask
him.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, no, not Gargano in a
What is
long
your
time.
opinion of him in the ring?
Oh, he's very good. He's solid. But I always thought it was interesting. Guys like Gargano and Miz, Dominic Mysterio. Are you there?
Yeah, yeah. I'm listening.
Okay, there you are. Okay, Dominic Mysterio. Who else? You can even say Chad Gable, even Kaiser. Um, they 30 years ago, they wouldn't have seen the ring in
Right.
WWF.
Yeah,
They're
Tommaso.
Tommaso. They're too small,
Yeah, they're all
way
way
too
very.
small. They wouldn't have been booked. They wouldn't have done anything.
Mhm.
So it's a reality. So when I was there, I was told I was too small, and I tower over these guys. So
Mhm.
and I'm when I was in shape and I was wrestling, I was like what 5'11". I'm 5'11". I was what 240 pounds. You know, and
Right.
that's why it's like that's a good size for an regular everyday guy on the street. So that and I look like
Mhm.
an athlete, but it's different. And don't get me wrong; these guys are amazing athletes. I'm not taking that away from them. I'm just saying that they're fortunate to have the spot that they have because 30 years ago that spot wouldn't have been there. So and I'm not taking away from their work either. They're very good in the ring. They're excellent. And you're at WWE. You're the best. You're one of the best
I,
in the world.
I really quickly wanted to say I my intention is to not bury anybody. I'm not out to just kind of badmouth people, but watching the match that Grayson Waller had with Kevin Owens on SmackDown, I
Mm-hmm.
felt he wrestled a very Divas era type style. Like
Mm,
uh, and it was like very like, oh, gotta be here. Like everything, like it was like the fundamentals were very like you could tell that there was too many thoughts. Like the fundamentals were gone because he was
right,
lost in what the next spot was. It was very Divas era sort of performance.
right, right. Definitely. I could see that. I could see that. That really wasn't much. Yeah, I always enjoyed Kevin Owens. I always loved watching
Hmm.
a lot of those guys too, including Randy Orton. Everybody. It's the methodical approach that I always liked Randy Orton because you could tell that he had that old school upbringing and what he was taught in Ohio Valley. So
Right.
it's fantastic. But hang on a second. I think um, I think with the different era that it is now, uh, it's just it's a time we're in where you
Well,
see
yeah.
guys.
Well, I mean, you could tell that like you could tell that the structure is there for skills to kind of continuously grow and improve and get
Right.
better. But like from the ground floor where it's at now, it's like
Hmm.
almost like watching a practice match,
Yeah.
the kind of match you'd have at practice just to get by, like as a student. Watching
Absolutely.
some of the main roster people perform, it's like some of these people are on the main roster, and some of the people in NXT could be taking their spot because they're better.
Right. Right. And we'll have to see. We'll have to see on that. I will tell you, um, God, who the Braun Breaker was Braun Breaker. I mean, I enjoy watching him work too. So he's a guy that's a bigger dude, and you could tell they're going to do things with him. I mean, he had a really good match the previous Raw with Zayn. You know, when they did the
Mhm.
2 out of 3 falls, which was fantastic. It
Right.
was really good. So I mean, I really think, and I'm not here to disparage anybody or bury anybody, but I think WWE is on this level and AEW is here.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think it's just safe to say that it's go
That
ahead.
can be said without disparaging anything. Like it's
Yeah.
very obvious to any. The thing is, and I've been thinking this. I don't know if I've said it to you in the past, or if I mean I know I've thought it many times. Um, there is for sure an identifier completely missing from AEW that stands it apart in a very like outstanding good way. Like when let's say I'm watching AEW, and let's say my wife comes in and watches it with me. She doesn't know that I'm not watching WWE. It looks enough like it. Like there's nothing that you can look at it and automatically go, yeah, that's what that is. Like sure, like like the ring colors, everything is so basic. Like it could
Hmm.
pop it, like make it pop a little bit more, give it its own identity, give it its own feel. There's something that could be done to any product in wrestling to identify it as not the WWE. Because once anyone looks at it, because they've been so programmed by watching WWE for so long, once they see a ring there, they automatically
Yeah.
go, "What is another WWE?" Like
Yeah.
it's just like
Right.
because not only is the NXT a different show than WWE than Raw and SmackDown, but it's it's another version. It's another version of WWE. So a lot of people could look at AEW and go, "Is this just another brand of AEW or of WWE, just like NXT is?" Like,
Hmm.
there's got to be something that identifies that, something that
Right.
it automatically like to the like uninformed, because like that's who most people aren't informed about your product. Inform them. And I said this from the start of AEW. They have all the ability in the world. Any obstacle that anyone has and goes like, oh, we could only do that if we had a zillion dollars. You guys have a zillion dollars. You can do anything.
Yeah, they could, but I'm thinking, it's one of those things that this it's like I almost want to say it's WCW 2.0, but they're not quite as bad as the end of WCW yet.
Well, what's strange about it is like they are
Mhm.
talking about like being inclusive and including all different kinds of wrestlers and all kinds of wrestling and blah blah blah, but the company has the word elite right in it. Like if you're not in that elite friend base, uh,
Yeah,
they don't want to include you. You're not represented by them because you're not their friends. And all
right.
their storylines are about all their storylines ultimately go about, well, that guy used to be my friend. He's not my friend anymore.
Zillion dollars.
Everything
Thanks, Tim.
everything everything has to do with friendships. Like that's not what
Yeah,
wrestling ever has been.
no.
Like
Well,
this,
yeah, you book your boys and you know what I mean. You make friends and
right.
everything. You help your friends out, but
I
there's
I
always
get it,
somebody that made
but
the decision to whether or not to do what and not. And Vince was the guy at WWE for the longest time.
as DMX would say, y'all been eating long enough now. Stop being greedy.
Yeah, pretty much. And on that note, I'm going to thank you, Corey, for another good show. We're about to hit the end of the show right now. Thank you for joining us. Please, fanatic. This is the Combat Zone Network, the StewKast Wrestling Podcast. on the Combat Zone Network as a subsidiary of the Fans First Sports Network. Thank you very much for joining us. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Every Wednesday we will come live, and then the show will be downloaded on Megaphone, and it'll be sent out to wherever else you can get your podcast for the audio podcast. Thank you guys very much, and you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, and have a great Wednesday. See you next week.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim. You too, Tim.